Hello again. Today, I want to kind of do a continuation of last week when I talked about the hands and the fingers and personal accountability and life, right? The micro versus the macro. All right, so today's topic is basically a quick little reminder uh, of sorts of what life is and what life ain't, right? What it is and what it ain't, based on what I started last week, based on what I was talking about last week. So this week, the message is basically the same. So I apologize in advance, but I don't because I felt like this is something that really needed to be said. That's why the idea just came to me, and this has never, ever, ever happened where they were so similar so soon. But I had to roll with the energy. So I guess a lot of people need to hear this in a different way, right? It's in a different way. Today we're talking about boats, right? What life is, right, and what it ain't, based on boats, right? So just another example. Story time for the kids. Okay. Sometimes, uh, let's see. Sometimes I don't know. It's just different examples help different people. Um, so imagine, if you will, a boat on the ocean. Right? It has a rudder, right, which controls the direction, and an engine, which makes it pick up speed, right, or decrease speed. It also has sails, which help it pick up speed without the help of the engine, right? Um, it has, or right, the sails also help it not, it help it be more. It helps it maneuver more effectively and efficiently through the water just based on the wind, right? The power of the wind or the ocean's currents, right? This is life. We are boats, baby. That's what you are. You're a boat. That's what you are. Yep, that's you. You're a boat. I'm a boat. We are boats. Okay, so we control the speed and direction of our lives for the most part. Again, this is just a mirror of last week's message about fingers. For the most part, we control the speed and direction of our lives. We decide when to open our sails, right, and ride the wind currents, right? That's something that we have no control over, right? The wind. We decide when to cut the engine, right? When to rev the engine, and just go against the currents anyway, right? Full speed ahead. We make all these decisions. We decide when to drop the anchor, right? And just stay put for a while, right? And that doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Even when you boat, you drop the anchor. You can drop the anchor for good reasons or for bad reasons, right? Maybe you don't want to be pushed and you don't want to drift in a direction that you're being carried, right? And the currents are too strong. Um, or maybe you want to fish, maybe you want to swim, maybe you just want to enjoy the view. So don't get caught up in the dropping of the anchor part, right? As though it's a bad thing. Um, but there are still aspects of our existence that we do not control, right? So you got undercurrents, right? You can't even see those that occur in the oceans, the change in the wind directions, right? Which can happen unexpectedly. Storms at sea, which can also happen unexpectedly, right? Uh, Sudden loss of power, right? Sometimes your engine just dies. That happens. Um, and all these other things, right? Icebergs, Titanic. I guess that's not funny, um, but yeah. So you have all of these situations that can come up unexpectedly, right? So the good thing is that positive quote unquote or wanted situations also happen unexpectedly, right? In life and on the ocean. So trade winds come, you have a sudden patch of good weather, right? Maybe the ocean currents are going in your direction, right? So stuff like that happens. I don't know, maybe you see a whale or a dolphin or a pretty sunset. I don't know. But good stuff also happens too when you are out on the ocean of life, right? The trick is knowing when to cut your engine, right, and preserve the fuel, right, and just ride the waves, because there will be moments in life where it is pointless to even try to fight against the current. There are these moments. So you just have to know when not to and when to just ride the current to see where it's taking you, right? It's usually not as bad as you think because, like I said in the last podcast, the universe is conspiring for your best interest, ultimately, even if it doesn't seem like it in that moment. And you say, well, this happened to me. How is that for the greater good? You know, how could you say that? And to which I would reply, give it some time, right? Everything in my life that has happened that I have been, I did not want, right? Or that I would have considered like unexpected and just like, I'm like, I could have done without that happening. After enough time has passed and I've contemplated enough, meditated on it, the reason why it happened has always, always, always come to me, right? Always. And there's always a bigger picture, right, that we often don't see when we are mired in the storm, right? So, okay, so you got to know when to preserve your fuel, right? Preserve your energy, ride the waves, or the flip side of that is when to rev your engine at full speed and drive with reckless abandon. Because see, that's supposed to happen too. Everybody wants to tell you like, oh, you know, slow and steady wins the race and just coast. And I'm not one of those people to tell you to just ride the wave of life completely, right? Because you still get to choose, right? You still have maybe you're in a paddle boat, I don't know, you're using oars, or your rudder, right? You still have steering mechanisms so that you can control where you're going, right? So keep that in mind. Sometimes you just have to rev the engine and get through the storm, right? Sometimes you can't sit in the storm. That's why it happened, right? Because you need to take action. The universe is making you uncomfortable. So there are a lot of moments like that where you just gotta go, right? You just have to get through it. You just have to power through it, right? And it's a function of faith ultimately too. Okay, so when you make the decision of when to coast along and look at the view, right, and be or rest in a sense of appreciation and gratitude, right, versus when to chase the horizon, that's wisdom, right? That's wisdom. That's knowing when to do what. That's ultimately what we are all going after in this life, right? But the comfort in that comes in the fact that you are allowing the universe to nudge you along the way. Because as I've said before, it'll let you know when you're doing something that's probably not in your highest interest, right? The universe will always nudge you in the right direction, right? But here's the trick. You got to be taking action. If you're just sitting there, the universe won't do anything except probably make you uncomfortable, right? But ultimately, you are the driver of the boat. You have to take action. And then maybe the wind will blow you in another direction that you didn't think you wanted to go. And then ultimately, it ends up being amazing, you know, or the currents will take you somewhere, a detour, maybe for you to have an opportunity to grow, right? Spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and things like that. So the universe is definitely nudging lovingly along the way, right? If you do nothing, though, you abdicate control over your life, right? So you don't want that. You don't want to just coast. That's not what you want, because then you are giving the control of your life over to external forces, right? And that's not the name of the game. That's not how it's supposed to be. You are the master of your fate, the creator of your own destiny, right? And you want to keep that in mind. So don't do that. But if you fight the currents for too long, when you shouldn't, right? You don't use that wisdom, then you risk running out of fuel or wrecking your boat, right? So that's the trick, right? Happy medium. Not one extreme or the other for too long. There will be moments where you have to do both of those, but usually life is about doing a little of both, right? Kind of knowing when to go left and when to go right. as appropriate. All right. So the moral of this story, dun dun dun, again, is that you control your own destiny. You. If there's something upsetting you right now, if there's something about your life that you don't like, you have to take action. You cannot wait for things that are external to you to self-correct or to fix it for you. If you don't leave the shore, then the universe can't help blow you in the right direction or things like that. You gotta take the first step. And then as you take steps, right, as you coast and alternate coasting and using your engine, right, raising your sails and lowering them, right, working with the elements, working with what you have, what's around you, then the universe will help you to co-create your beautiful, beautiful, beautiful life. And that's it. That's all I got. All right. Peace out. Love, live, light, laughter. Bye.